Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something you've definitely heard of. No, not November. It's this wild internet thing that's, part meme, part serious wellness challenge. So is this whole thing just a meme? Or is it actually some secret way to, I don't know, unlock your inner superpower? Millions of people try this every single year, so let's get into it and separate the internet hype from the real science.
Okay, so first things first. Where did this even come from? Let's look at the origin story.
All right, the rules are pretty straightforward. For the entire 30 days of November, participants basically abstain from any kind of ejaculation. A lot of times, this also means avoiding porn. The whole point is to test your self-discipline. And it's kind of funny how it all started. Back in 2011, it was literally just a satirical entry on Urban Dictionary, a joke. But then, around 2017, it just exploded on Reddit and other social media. Now it's this huge global thing, a community event fueled by memes and, of course, a little bit of friendly competition. So, why would anyone do this? What's the big draw? Well, people who participate are chasing this whole list of promised superpowers. And if you look at the online communities, the stories are wild. We're talking about claims of incredible personal transformations. Things like having way more energy and vitality, suddenly having crystal clear mental focus, a huge boost in confidence and motivation, even becoming more emotionally stable and creative. It all sounds amazing, right? And what's really interesting is how the community has mapped out this whole journey. It's almost like a video game level-up system. Week 1, you're struggling, right? More urges, you might be irritable. But then week 2, boom, more energy, more confidence. By week 4, you're supposedly reaching this new level of self-control, maybe even having some spiritual insights. It's a very compelling narrative. Okay, but that's the internet lore. What does actual medical science have to say about these so-called superpowers? We took a look at the analysis from urologist Dr. Rina Malik to get a reality check. All right, let's start with the big one, the claim you hear all the time. No Nut November boosts your testosterone. This is probably the #1 reason people try it. But is it true? The evidence is, well, not quite what you'd expect. So here's the deal. There was one main study that people always point to support this claim, and it was retracted. Yeah, pulled back. Another study did show a tiny temporary spike. We're talking 20-30 minutes. But that was most likely just due to the anticipation of sexual activity, not the abstinence itself. So that idea of a sustained, month-long testosterone boost, the science just isn't there. Okay, what about fertility? It kind of makes sense to think that if you save it up, your sperm quality will improve, right? Well, it turns out the opposite might be true once you go past a certain number of days. And the science is actually pretty clear here. After about 5 days of abstinence, studies show that sperm quality can actually start to go down. You can see more DNA fragmentation in the sperm and a drop in motility, that's their ability to swim, and morphology, which is basically having a healthy shape. So not great for fertility. All right, next up, let's talk about athletic performance. This is another huge claim, that N will give you some kind of edge in the gym or on the field. Well, researchers looked into this. A big meta-analysis, which combined the results of 9 different studies, found basically no impact on performance. We're talking output, focus, strength, no real difference. In fact, what seems to matter most is just sticking to your normal routine. Suddenly changing things up can just add stress, which might actually hurt your performance. But wait, there is one claim that actually does have some science behind it. But there's a big catch. So yes, semen volume does go up. For the first 4 days or so, it increases by about 12% per day. But after that, the rate slows down a lot. Why? Because your body is smart. It starts to reabsorb what's not being used. It doesn't just keep building up indefinitely. Okay, so we've busted some myths, but it's not just about the lack of benefits. We also need to talk about the potential downsides and risks. A lot of people who try NNN report things you'd expect, right? Feeling irritable, having mood swings, being way more distracted. But Dr. Malik actually points out that there are a couple of specific, real medical conditions that can pop up. The first one is something you might have heard of called blue balls, or medically, epididymal hypertension. It's a real thing. It happens when you get aroused, blood flows to the testicles, but without a release, it gets trapped, causing this, well, a pretty uncomfortable aching feeling. It's temporary, but definitely not pleasant. And then there's something a bit more serious, pelvic floor dysfunction. See, the constant stress of trying to control ejaculation can make your pelvic muscles, those are the ones that support your bladder and bowels, get super tense. And when they're always clenched like that, it can lead to real problems like pain, feeling like you have to pee all the time, and even constipation. And one more thing we have to talk about, wet dreams. What happens if you have one? Does that mean you failed? Absolutely not. A nocturnal emission is just your body's automatic reset button. It's a completely normal physiological process that's totally out of your control. So, okay, we've looked at the hype, the promised superpowers, and the actual science. What's the final verdict on all this? What's the point? Well, it seems like the real appeal of No Nut November isn't about physical changes. The science just doesn't back up most of those big claims about testosterone or performance. Instead, the value seems to be psychological. It's a test of self-discipline. It's about being part of a community and joining in on a fun, if a bit weird, online challenge. And that really brings us to the final thought here. Maybe the ultimate challenge isn't about abstinence at all. Maybe it's about learning how to separate the internet hype from what's actually healthy for our minds and bodies. Thanks for joining this explainer.